Hello, Spruce Society! Welcome to my talk, which is Overcoming Excuses. I'm super excited to share with you today. I have stuff mixed from Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Bob Proctor and Oprah Winfrey and Lisa Nichols and all the beautiful masterminds of our time and my own experiences that I'm going to pass forward today. So buckle up. I hope you have a paper and pen and you can take some notes, but of course you can always come back in and watch. So there's this book that I read a really long time ago, and I'm so bad because I don't even remember who the author was, but I just jotted down some notes and I thought it was so good. And it's just a little story that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to start with. So, what is the real secret of success? How many people would like to double their income, lose weight, gain muscle, get out of debt, achieve financial independence? These are all great goals that everyone has. We all want to make more money. We all want to spend more time with our loved ones. We want to do more things that we love. We want to lose weight. Sorry about the chickens. We want to achieve financial independence. Not only do we want the same things, but we all know what we have to do to achieve them. But instead of doing the things that we need to do, we think that we are going to do it someday. Sometime. So before we get started, we decide to take a vacation to a fantasy place called Someday I'll. Someday I'll read that book. Someday I'll start that exercise program. Someday I'll upgrade my skills and earn more money. Someday I'll get my finances under control and get out of debt. Someday I'll do all those things I know I need to do to achieve my goals. And 80% of the population lives on Someday I'll. Most of the time, they think, dream, and fantasize about all the things that they'll do someday. And who are they surrounded by on Someday I'll? Other people on Someday I'll. And what is the main conversation on Someday I'll? It's excuses. They all sit around and swap excuses for being on the island. Why are you here? They ask each other. Not surprisingly, those excuses are largely the same. I didn't have a happy childhood. I didn't have a good education. I don't have money. I grew up in poverty. My boss is critical. I don't have time. No one believes in me. My marriage is no good. The economy is terrible. No one appreciates me. No one listens to me. And they come down with a disease called excusitis. No way, Kelowna. Which is futile to success. They all have good intentions. Which is fatal to success. They all have good intentions, but we all know that the road of suffering is paved with good intentions. The number one rule of success is to boat yourself off that island. No more excuses. You do it or you don't, but you don't make excuses. Stop using your incredible brain to think, elaborate, rationalize, and justify all the reasons why you can't take action, to do something, to do anything. And if it's up to me, if it is to be, it is up to me. I want you to repeat it at home. If it is to be, it is up to me. So that's where I wanted to start. Let's boat ourselves off that excuse, Someday I'll, where the only thing that is talked about is excuses. And if you have been in this company and you've been doing the business long enough, you have realized that you can have your day ones. You can love your mom and your dad and your family and your siblings and your grandparents, and you can have love for them. They will always be your family. They will always be your day ones. But sometimes those people are the first ones to allow us to stick to our excuses. Sometimes they're the first ones to criticize what it is that we're dreaming of in our hearts. And Jim Rohn says, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You are the total of the 5 people you hang out with. So if you are finding yourself in a group of people, start to recognize, what are the conversations? What things do you talk about? What do they push you? Do you have to step up as a human being, as a person, to be in their presence? Or are you shrinking? Are you making yourself small? Are you accepting that this is just the cards that I was dealt? This is how my life is. There's no other way. I'll never be that lucky person. You know, what kind of conversations do you have? What kind of people do you spend time with? What are they doing? Would you trade your life with theirs? And that's a really great way to know, do I need to upgrade, or can I, continue on this relationship? Hi, Jessica. So, one of the highest forms of maturity is accepting and taking full responsibility of what happens to you. I used to have this long list of reasons of why I wasn't doing good, why I wasn't where I wanted to be, why I was still in the same place. To explain, right? I had to explain, because otherwise I was going to look bad, right? If I didn't have a reason of why I wasn't where I was going to be, where I needed to be, or why I couldn't do this, or why I wasn't going to be able to, show up for this, then I was going to look bad. I needed an excuse. Okay. So you blame the company, and then you blame the shipping issues, and then you blame the training program, and then you might blame your upline, and then you blame the comp plan, and then you blame your leaders, your upline, and you blame your team, and you blame that you're so busy and you have no time, and you blame that you have no money, and you blame that maybe you had a hard childhood. And you blame your parents, okay? That's where I was. That was my long list, okay? This is the reasons why I couldn't do all that I wanted to do. So then the question was asked, how come you have not done well up until now? How come you're not where you want to be? I was very quick to grab that list of reasons, right? Grab that list of excuses of why I couldn't be where I wanted to be. But the biggest problem on that list wasn't on it. And that biggest problem was me. So I took that list and I ripped it up and I took out a new list, and I asked myself, why am I not where I want to be? Why haven't I done well up until now? And there was one word on there, and that was because it was me. Me, I'm the one. So I learned very quickly to stop blaming everything outside of myself and listen to this and follow this quote that changed my life. And it says that it's not what happens that determines the quality or quantity of your life. It's what you do with what happens. I'm going to repeat that. It's not what happens that determines the quality or quantity of your life. It's what you do with what happens. It is not your circumstance. It's your perception of your circumstance. And I was so busy thinking of all the reasons why my life had to be hard, why I couldn't live up to this idea that I wanted. I had all these reasons and all these excuses. But the reality is it came back down to me. It came back down to my philosophy. And Jim Rohn says, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. So the reason is because what happens to about everyone. There is no difference. The sun sets on all of us. The moon rises on all of us. The wind blows on all of us. It is a common event, a happening. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do with what happens. What happens what happens is about the same. But what people decide to do with what happens, that is what is different. So many of you who know me, you know that I come from a family who had struggled with drug addiction. And I have many friends whose parents and families have also struggled with drug addiction. And I see some of my friends and they followed that same path. And I'm very grateful that I chose a different way. And it was a single choice. I chose to rely on sports. I chose to hang on to people who could add value to my life. I chose to spend my time with teachers and people who took the time to invest in my future. And if it wasn't for all the mentors that I've had throughout my life, I wouldn't be here. And so it was a single choice that has led me to this specific place. When I was 20, I got pregnant and I could have, done anything. I could have a lot of my friends who got pregnant young, they were still living up their 20s, living their life. But I chose to dive deep and invest in myself and join Young Living as a business. And it has completely shifted the course of my life. So I'll get back to topic. You say, yeah, but you don't understand the disappointments I've had. Disappointments are not special gifts reserved for the poor, okay? Every single person in this world has them. Everybody has them. The difference is what you do. It's not the weather. You used to blame the weather. You couldn't show up to something because of the weather. And I discovered that it rains on the rich. It rains on the happy. It rains on the joyful. It rains on the fulfilled. It rains on the abundant, right? 2 men wake up one morning. There's a rainstorm. One of them looks out the window and sees the storm and he says, wow, what a storm. With weather like this, they can't expect me to go out and make a sale, so he stays home. The same morning, the other guy looks out his window. He sees the rainstorm. He says, wow, what a storm. But he says, you know what? With weather like this, what a great day to go out and make sales. That is the difference in how your life works out. It's not what happens, it's what you do. So starting today, what are you going to do that makes a change in your life direction? What are you going to do starting tomorrow that's going to make a difference? Now, see, if you don't do something tomorrow that will start to make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same, right? And that way you can guess what the next 5 years are going to look like because you can rely on what the last 5 years have looked like. And so many of us, again, are on that someday isle, that someday island, and we get stuck there and all we exchange our excuses. 80% of the population lives on that someday isle. And so if you have not done those things that you have been called to do and 5 years have passed, if there's no change, if there's no choice to do something different, then it's going to look the same for the next 5 years. Change it all, change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice. You can do whatever you want, but it's nice to know that any day that you wish, you can change your whole life. What you can do starting tomorrow that will make a difference? That's a good question. What can you do with an economic chaos, in massive disappointment? What can you do with a broken heart? What can you do when you're betrayed? What can you do when it won't work? Right? Those are good questions. But 2022, we have, very short time left in the year. I invite you to reach down inside of you and come up with some of those remarkable gifts. Share those remarkable gifts. They are there and they're waiting to be utilized. And then change anything for you that you want to change. And I challenge you to do this because you can change. I am someone who lived in excuses because remember, I had to look good. I couldn't let people see that I was like, I had to have a reason for everything. The reason why I couldn't do the dishes, the reason why the house wasn't clean, the reason why I didn't get to the laundry, the reason why I wasn't in the, rank or having the team or having the classes or having the social media accounts that I wanted to because I was stuck in excuses. So I challenge you to take one step forward. One step. What's one little thing, 1 millimeter of a change that you can do that will shift the next 5 years of your life? So we don't ever have to be the same again by choice. Self-reliance is counting on ourselves. It's taking full responsibility to what happens to you. And that is the secret that unlocks all the excuses. That is the secret to overcoming excuses. It's taking full responsibility to that for everything, every single thing that shows up in your life. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Okay, like even if it's 0.0001% your fault, you still played a role in it because it showed up in your life. So knowing what is happening now today is a direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Now, being self-reliant doesn't mean that you can't work with other people, you can't trust other people, you can't rely on other people. Self-reliance just means that you count on yourself. that you finally trust in yourself, that you are being confident in yourself, that you're being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instincts, trusting that your intuition, trusting the conclusions that you have developed from your studies and experiences and philosophies, taking the credit that is due to you, learning from the mistakes that you've made, and being self-reliant. Gestalt, he's a psychologist, he gave this example and he said about being self-reliant. And he says, you're responsible for getting caught in the rain. They say that by deciding not to carry an umbrella every single day, you have made the decision to endure the occasional drenching. So translation, by not being prepared, you make the choice of getting caught in life's unpleasant circumstances. Be it rain, failures, economic losses, relationship losses, professional losses, personal losses. By not being prepared, thinking ahead, it's your choice. So, for example, maybe you have a huge goal to, move your team to the next rank. And you're giving yourself 3 months, maybe you're in fall flourish and you're just like really diving in on yourself and you don't hit your goal. Have you prepared for what you're going to do when you don't hit that goal? And not saying that, I'm not telling you to be like, oh, it will never happen to me, I can't do it. No, self-reliance means that you're confident in yourself, you trust yourself, you will carry out the mission to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. But are you being prepared for when that one person doesn't show up, or when that one class that you hold that you wanted to be huge and extravagant and no one comes? What's going to happen next? What are you going to do? Are you going to do a live? Are you going to do, go out in the community? Like, what's going to happen, right? A healthy sense of, oh my gosh, I have pregnancy brain. I'm so sorry. Healthy, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. We'll get back there. We'll just blank that out. Okay, I'm going to continue, but basically just being prepared. So, the other side is being prepared, you increase your chances of success. You increase your likelihood. By being prepared, you increase your chances of seizing opportunities when they come your way, of being ready within yourself to take advantage of once-in-a-lifetime situations. Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes. They blame others for their failures. Somebody says, it's not my fault that the report didn't get done. So-and-so didn't do their part. But of course it's your fault, because it's your responsibility to see that everyone you delegated to work does their part. Now, you can't control what others do, but it's in your own self-interest that you stay on top of things, especially if it's going to affect your future. So you think that your upline sees Natalie as the one that didn't do it. You call your upline, you're like, I am hitting silver this month. Whatever it takes, I am doing it. They're not going to look at Natalie on your level 5 and say, oh, the reason Haley didn't reach silver is because Natalie didn't do her part. No, they're not going to look at it like that. So the people who make up your team, right? Checking in with those who work with you. You can be more responsible by checking in and saying, hey, Natalie, how are you doing with your part? Do you need help? Can we put someone there to help support you, to help you finish whatever their part is? Now, if Natalie is consistently not handling her part, she's consistently not showing up, she's consistently having an excuse of why she can't be there, we have to make a decision of, are we going to continue to spend our energy there? Are we going to continue to make up the excuse, well, she's tired, well, she's busy, well, she has a lot on her plate, well, she has 3 kids. Well, there's Sally over here who has 6 kids and is showing up and is doing the hard work and is, working on herself. Right? There's 2 people, it's very similar situations. One makes a conscious decision to wake up and show up and go after her goal, while the other one is stuck on, what is it? Someday Island. So if she isn't doing her share, if Natalie isn't doing her share, then you've got to find someone who will. Or what? It will negatively affect you. So you can't wake up in the morning that the project is due, hoping and wishing that Natalie has done her part. You have to take responsibility, because it's going to affect your career, your vision, your goal as well. Now, my approach to a better my future early on was to go through the day and cross my fingers and hope for the best, right? Life just happened to me. I had no control over it. If it rained, it rained. If it poured, it poured. There was like nothing I could do about it, right? And then I got into Young Living. I looked at my excuses. I looked at my little paperwork of why I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I realized that it's not that life happens to you. It's how life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. So if you wake up with that mentality, if you wake up and you look at your day as this clean slate, this blank canvas, you get to draw your masterpiece. You get to paint whatever it is that you want because you're making a conscious decision to show up for yourself and taking full responsibility for your life. And can I tell you, the chains that are like unlocked and broken because you make that decision to take full responsibility. When you can't show up to something, you don't say, I couldn't show up because my dog needed to use the bathroom and I couldn't get there in time and blah, 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 right? I didn't show up because I didn't prepare myself enough time to get there on time, right? I didn't give myself enough time. If things like my dog needed to use the bathroom at last minute, right? Like you have to set yourself up for success. That's being prepared. So it's up to you, being responsible for yourself. Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. This is a sign of growing and growth and maturity. And here's where it comes from. It's taking full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop, it's your garden, it's your masterpiece. Whatever your paycheck is, take full responsibility. And you say, well, it's my comp plan. But it's not your comp plan, it's you, because there's people who have the same comp plan who are making the most of it, right? So you can become twice as valuable, 3 times as valuable, burn the midnight oil, learn a new skill, hang out with people who add value to your life, who push you, who don't allow you to have excuses in their presence, bring more value to the marketplace. And I'm telling you, whatever your harvest is, take it without complaint because it's in your control to transform it, to change it, to show up in a different light. So I hope that I added some value to you today, and I'm so grateful that you are here and that you took the time to listen to Overcoming Excuses. I hope this rest of this year in 2023 and all the many years to come bring you nothing but pure joy and bliss and taking full responsibility for everything that shows up in your life so you can overcome all the excuses that you made for yourself. You are amazing, and I hope you have a beautiful day.